this atomic age, the parade ground still remains an essential requirement for the training of the soldier. Men of the Royal Australian Engineers, or sappers as they are generally known, are trained as infantry before becoming engineers. These men are engineers in the making. From all classes of society, carpenters, clerks, bricklayers, bank clerks, fitters and fettlers, they will embark upon courses of training that will provide them with interesting and satisfying careers in this technical branch of the Army. The School of Military Engineering is where the Army trains its engineers. Under the direction of qualified engineers, every aspect of modern warfare coming within the ambit of Army engineering is dealt with at this school. The classrooms are well equipped and they've been scientifically designed to enable lecturers and instructors to impart their knowledge to students in the most efficient manner possible. The motion picture sound film plays an important role in the training of the Army engineer by bringing facts and figures and strategy to life on the classroom screen. Models play an important part at this school. Army engineer craftsmen were responsible for these models, which are used to instruct students in building construction. Junior regimental officers undergoing a basic engineering course study the methods used by the Army in the erection of timber-framed buildings through the medium of these models. This is a model of a sewage treatment works, and it reveals the method of construction of a system which includes sedimentation, bacterial digestion and disposal processes. This is a class of sergeants undergoing the Assistant Clerk of Works course, during which they learn how to equip a camp with a practical sewerage and drainage system when direct connection to sewer mains is not possible. Electrical engineering is an important aspect of military engineering and is part of this junior regimental officer's basic engineering course. Many members of the Corps of Royal Australian Engineers are skilled tradesmen. Most of them are products of the Army Apprentices School at Balcombe, Victoria. The engineers have erected many Army buildings, some comfortable messes and living quarters, complete with a garden and fish pond, and others, such as this large hangar built at Randwick to house engineer equipment. And having erected valuable buildings, the sapper is responsible for the Army Fire Service which protects them, and also the millions of pounds worth of machinery he uses. Foam is used to deal quickly with an oil fire. Engineers are responsible for the supply of water for drinking and other purposes. They are trained to operate water purification and pumping equipment and water storage systems. The task for the Army engineer is an ever-expanding one. The development of modern mechanized lifting equipment and heavy earth-moving machinery has provided valuable tools for the men who are responsible for the smooth functioning and mobility of an army in the field. Road and airfield construction are further aspects of the training being carried out at the School of Military Engineering. So the Army's engineers become expert tractor and bulldozer operators. They learn to handle the grader and the scraper and to construct earthworks with speed and efficiency. This area at the school is known as the Dust Bowl, and here are trained the students who attend a plant operator's basic course of 12 weeks duration. The course covers the maintenance, adjustment and operation of a wide variety of tractors, bulldozers, angle dozers and attachments, graders, excavators, cranes and specialized machines. After the completion of their course, the students qualify as plant operators and transfer to units for employment in this role. Soils engineering is a most important aspect of road and airfield construction. And in the soils laboratory, the engineer can discover the exact nature of the materials that he may be called upon to move and handle in such large quantities. The Army engineer in peace applies the skills he has attained to the construction and maintenance of military establishments. Thus, he is prepared to undertake similar vital construction in the event of war. However, it is a tradition that all officers and men joining the regular element of the Corps should be trained initially in field engineering to enable them to take their place in combatant units of the field force. The sappers have the responsibility of handling assault and floating bridging. The Royal Australian Engineers follow the techniques of the Royal Engineers of the United Kingdom in the handling of the Bailey Bridge developed by them. Fixed and floating bridges of the Bailey type, simple as they look when erected, represent a triumph on the part of their designers. But the sapper, when time permits and the occasion demands it, is also qualified to build conventional bridges of a semi-permanent or permanent nature. The particular skill of the Army engineer, when compared with his civilian counterpart, lies in his ability to improvise and his training for the support of the combat troops. Every new development in equipment is examined by the Army engineer as a possible aid to him in carrying out his tasks. The perfection of the underwater equipment of the frogman and the skin diver has provided the Army engineer with valuable tools to help him with all types of construction and demolition taking place in the presence of water. A typical task for an engineer skin diver would be the destruction of a bridge or the removal of obstructions. TNT slabs are used by engineers to carry out the demolition of all types of structures. The engineer learns how to use this explosive efficiently and economically. It's just as important for the Army engineer to know how to destroy as well as how to build, and training in demolition is an important part of the work carried out at the school. The camouflage charge is used to damage roadways and to impede the progress of the enemy. A small charge exploded in the pipe after it's been driven into the ground opens out a chamber into which is placed 70 pounds of plastic explosive. The explosion produces a 10 feet deep crater 25 feet in diameter. In a highway, this would seriously impede the progress of an enemy's mobile equipment. On a miniature range, the students take time off from their engineering activities to develop their skill at marksmanship. The aim of the engineering courses at this school is to produce good soldier sappers. The recognition and neutralization of foreign mines is a subject of vital importance to the Army engineer. NCOs of the regular Army on this course see before them examples of Russian, German, Japanese, and American and British anti-tank and anti-personnel mines. These are Russian anti-tank mines as used in Korea. These simple wooden box mines are of a type manufactured in the field. The disposal of unexploded bombs is another function of the engineer. Here, the physical details of Japanese, German, British, and American bombs may be compared. The laying of anti-tank mines is a sapper art. After it's fused, the mine is concealed and surrounded by small anti-personnel mines. The mine has been called the queen of the battlefield, for its influence on the course of battle is very great. The mechanical mine layer, which carries a crew of 7, can lay up to 400 mines an hour, compared with the 50 mines laid in the same time by a similar number of men. Using dark glasses to simulate night vision, the regular Army NCOs on this course are trained in mine detection. Prodding is the only satisfactory method of locating non-metallic mines. The detection of metallic mines is possible with this special equipment. The detector man is changed every 20 minutes to avoid strain. Practical mine-breaching exercises are carried out at night, since in the field this type of work would normally be performed under cover of darkness. Sappers complete the final stage of the erection of a cat-wire fence around a defensive position. This is a part of the ARA Recruits Basic Field Engineering course. Sappers learn the basic art. Most of the digging these days is done by machines, but situations sometimes preclude their use. Steel pickets and corrugated iron are used to construct a 4-man fire trench. This type of shelter consists of a fire bay from which troops can fire their weapons. At each end of the trench is a steel shelter to give protection against atomic blast. The possibility of some future nuclear war is one that must be considered by all arms of the service. And although monitoring following a nuclear attack is not a peculiarly engineering task, since it becomes a responsibility of all army units, it will be the responsibility of the engineer to restore the utilities, water, power and other needs, as well as area decontamination and opening up routes. The Army has trained and used dogs for a number of purposes, and this too has been an engineer task. Food is prepared for the single daily meal given to the dogs at Casula. Alsatians are used for tracking, for patrol work, as guard dogs, and for liaison and rescue work. And Labradors are most useful because they possess a highly developed sense of smell. Small dogs of mongrel breed are used for mine detection, since they are not likely to be heavy enough to fire a mine. Each dog has its own handler. All dogs, no matter how they're to be used, must become thoroughly obedient to their handlers. This course of training occupies up to 6 weeks, depending upon the intelligence of the dog. Tiger, a favorite at the school, is of nondescript breed, but he's an expert mine detector. A good dog can locate mines which have been buried for from 3 to 6 months, regardless of the material from which they've been made. The training period for this work occupies up to 13 weeks and must be continued after a dog has been trained. Dogs use some mysterious sense as yet little understood to locate buried objects. The dog is rewarded for each mine he detects. Guard dogs are taught to smell out or to hear intruders. They're employed to guard vital points such as aerodromes, factories and dumps. Training is carried out by using a baiting man who wears a heavily padded suit. The dog holds the intruder until called off by his handler. The engineers at Casula have erected this memorial to their fallen comrades. The memorial is both simple and expressive. The Royal Australian Engineers have created their own traditions, and their record is a proud one. It is a record of service to their fellow soldiers and to the people of Australia.